So for those of you who voted in my previous video where I basically asked you guys if you would prefer I did gameplay or facecam, well, the poll results are in, and it's actually about 40 to 59% in favor of gameplay, which means that until I find some sort of format change that I really like, I'm gonna stick with gameplay from now on, and that's okay with me. I mean, if I figured if I have the equipment already for gameplay, then it's not a waste to do it. One thing I do want to let you guys know, though, is that my video production, my video quantity, is going to go down pretty significantly for the next few months until I move into my new place. I just started a new job, and I love my new job so much, but it does take a lot of my time up, and by the time I get home, I'm usually ready to crash and go to bed because I have a super long commute through tons of traffic to get home. That's going to change basically over the summer when I move into my new place. I'm going to be by myself. So not only do I not have to worry about roommates and, you know, not being able to record when they're home, basically, in this small apartment I'm in, but it also means that I will have less of a commute to deal with, so I'll have more motivation to do videos. So sorry about the slow video production, but it's gonna be one a week or less unless something major happens for the next few months. My guess is probably July, like maybe July, I'll be moving to the new place. It really depends on what becomes available. So anyways, let's get on to today's topic. I want to address another puzzling rumor about the Nintendo Switch that was just kind of starting to be talked about today. I mean, people kind of talked about the Switch's temperature, but this says something a little bit more extreme. So a poster on Reddit people were talking about the temperature woes of the Switch on Reddit, basically, and a user on Reddit posted a picture of their Nintendo Switch all warped. They claimed that they left it inside the dock, and they took it out of the dock, and it was bent because of heat. And other Reddit users kind of replied saying, hey, that happened to me too. And now, of course, a bunch of gaming sites are picking up this as an article about a newsworthy article or whatever. So I want to address this. Is this a fake rumor? Are these people bullshitting? Is this plausible? Well, in my personal opinion, this is either fake and these people are faking, or these are just a few defective units, and obviously they're going to post about it online if there's a couple defective units. Now, we all know the overblown reaction to a few defective Nintendo Switch units and how people reacted to that at the beginning of March. Basically, with just a few videos of defective Nintendo Switches online put into a compilation made people think that the Nintendo Switch was a hugely defective unit, when really it had a pretty normal defect rate. So obviously, when stuff like this is posted online, you have to take it on a case-by-case basis. These are just a few people posting about this. We literally have not really heard about this being a widespread problem until now. So that's one piece of evidence to say that this is either, you know, being overblown or it's absolutely faking. In fact, I actually want to call back to something. Remember those fake pictures of melting PS4 Pros where some idiot Xbox fanboy took a lighter to the side of a PS4 Pro that he bought, claiming that it melted? But people who actually opened the PS4 Pro know that he melted the spot where the fan was, so we knew it was fake. This looks a lot less fake. Like, if you look at these units, look at this picture. If you take a look at it, it doesn't look faked. Like, it looks totally warped. So that basically leads me to believe that, yes, this right here, this picture is of a defective unit, but it's possible that other people are saying that it's a problem because they're being fanboys, kind of like that guy who melted the side of his PS4 Pro. So I want to take a look at one of SpawnWave's videos real quick, where he basically took a temperature probe to the Nintendo Switch chip directly, right on top of it, and he measured the temperatures in Celsius. That's, if you're in the US, people typically use Celsius for computer temperatures. And he basically checked the temperatures to see how hot the Switch got. He tested both docked and undocked mode, but I'm only going to look at the docked temperatures right now, because that's all that really matters, plus this whole article stems from the Switch supposedly melting in docked mode. So if we take a look at the system in idle, he got 38 degrees Celsius, which is nothing. Playing Zelda in docked mode got it to about 46 Celsius, and Fast RMX, which is the hottest game that he's tested so far, got it to 49 Celsius, almost 50. Now, I want to compare that to the temperatures that you typically see on PC GPUs when they're running. Or, you know what, let's just look at the max temperatures they run at before they basically have to shut themselves off and crash to protect themselves from melting. Now, typically what you see in a CPU, whether it be AMD, Intel, Ryzen, or the Core chips, whatever you're looking at, what you usually see is the recommended maximum temperature for those chips is roughly around 60 Celsius if you're using it under load for long periods of time. The chip can survive higher temperatures, but usually what will happen is that it'll forcibly throttle itself once it reaches around 90 Celsius. 90 Celsius. That is a huge jump up from the 49 Celsius that SpawnWave got when he was testing the temperatures in some of the Switch's more demanding games. Heck, the temperatures he got were below the typical temperatures you see for both CPUs and GPUs running in basically under load for long periods of time. Hell, if you have older AMD GPUs, like the R9 290 and 290X are, big, they're definitely guilty of this for sure. Those typically ran in the 70s and 80s under maximum load, especially if you were overclocking those cards, and they hold up pretty well. My friend's still running dual 290Xs, and they work just fine in his computer, despite the fact that they run really hot, which, causes problems for his room that he plays in, but it doesn't necessarily hurt the GPUs too badly. I decided to do my own test. Basically, I took my Switch and I turned on Zelda, and I went to one of the areas that, even after the recent frame rate patch, still had frame rate drops, which basically means it's one of the more demanding areas in the game, and I basically wandered around, did actions, and tested that area to see how hot my Switch would get. The area I chose was Korok Forest, and what I did after standing and wandering around in there for maybe like 30 minutes or so, yes, I pretty much have no life, in docked mode, my Switch was basically... You could feel warm air coming out of the vent slot, but the fan wasn't really running super hot. It wasn't running super hard. Sure, it was about as fast as I've ever heard the fan going, but it wasn't, you had to put your ear up to it to hear it still, so it wasn't really pushing itself. The system wasn't freezing or lagging, which you typically see when the chips will throttle themselves due to heat. So basically, mine has no problems, SpawnWave's obviously has no problems, and nobody else in the community here, at least in my little close circle, really has any problems with their Switch, which basically means that what we saw on Reddit here was a defective unit, and some of the comments are probably fake and overblown. It could have possibly been something else too. All it takes is one person not having proper ventilation in that area, and the system could possibly get hot enough to warp. Ask any PC gamer what happens during the summer. You typically go from a cool room in the winter, and you can pretty much run your GPUs at overclock speeds, and nothing bad happens, but as soon as summer comes along, your computer starts to choke, even though to you it doesn't feel like a huge difference in air temperature, but to your computer that's a huge difference. So if you have your Switch closed off in a tiny little cabinet, or it's basically just surrounded by stuff and it's in a hot room, it could potentially have a risk of overheating and melting, especially if it's a defective unit. So basically, the moral of the story is, make sure your Switch can breathe, and if you start to see it warp, chances are it's probably going to just be covered by Nintendo under its warranty and you can get it swapped out. Or if you have any sort of extended warranty from Best Buy or something, or Amazon, get it swapped out then, because the very good chance that the replacement unit that you're going to get will be just fine, just like the vast majority of the Nintendo Switches out there. So anyways, that's going to be it for this video. I definitely look forward to seeing what basically comes of this specific Switch that I showed the picture of on here, and what basically started this whole melting, warping the Switch conversation on Reddit. I want to see if more people come out with proven anecdotes of their Nintendo Switches having the same problems, but for now I hope that this video definitely cleared things up. There's nothing to worry about. If you've been extensively playing your Switch so far and it hasn't been showing any sort of temperature problems and it's not warped yet, you're probably going to be just fine. But if yours is starting to warp a little bit, now would probably be a good time to get it swapped out before it gets too damaged after your warranty already gives up, no matter how long that is. Alright, this is Jake. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Fade, sound, and picture out.